Hello and welcome to the 13th video of my L4 Dead 2 mapping tutorial series. This video will be a mishmash of random things, as we'll be going over miscellaneous gameplay elements like alarmed cars, mounted guns, explosive barrels, and more. These are useful to spice up a dull and boring map. Stay tuned. First we'll go over the alarmed car. Thankfully, Valve left us an instance of the alarmed car, so we don't have to do any work. Place a func_instance entity in your map. This entity inserts the contents of another map file into the current one. Open its properties. Double-click VMF file name and look for prop_car_alarm.vmf. Hit apply. Now, we have an instance of the alarmed car in our map. We can just position it wherever we want and it will function in game. Next, let's place down some mounted guns. These are always fun to have in crescendo events or finales. There's two types, the minigun and the 50 cal. To place the minigun, use the prop_minigun_L4D2 entity. For the 50 cal, use the prop_mounted_machine_gun entity. In some maps, infected can break walls to surprise the survivors. Let's open the map file plainly by going to File, Open, double-clicking Instance, and double-clicking breakwall_generic.vmf. Let's select everything by dragging a box and hammer and pressing Enter. Press Ctrl+C to copy. Now click Window at the top of Hammer and click your map to return to it. Paste it in with Ctrl+V and position it to your liking. We did it this way so the wall texture is editable. Make a no-draw brush covering the whole wall, with only one unit sticking out of each wall face. Texture both opposing faces of that no-draw brush with the texture Tank Wall. Turn it into a func_brush entity and name it breakwall_icon. Underneath is the func_breakable that makes up this whole breakable walls functionality. Open up its properties and make a new output on break. Target the func brush called break wall icon via the input kill. That's it. If you want to make any more breakable walls, select everything that makes up this breakable wall and copy and paste it with paste special or Ctrl+Shift+V. Make sure the make pasted entity names unique box is checked so that any more breakable walls have unique names that don't interact with each other in the IO system. Of course, when you make these new breakable walls, update your nav mesh to accommodate them. Make a connection from both sides of the wall so zombies know to break through the wall. Explosive barrels are a piece of cake. Just place one down with a prop_fuel_barrel entity. There's some properties here you could change with it, but it's absolutely not necessary. First aid cabinets can be made with a prop_health_cabinet entity. Just place one down and open its properties. Scroll all the way to the bottom and adjust the number of pain pills option to your liking. You can't choose whether medkits or pills will spawn here. The director will automatically turn these pills into medkits if the team is struggling. Next up are the footlockers you see in the passing campaign. These are a lot more tricky to set up, but I've created a template that you can use. Download is in the description. When you have it downloaded, take the VMF file and move it to the L4 Dead 2 /SDK content /map source /instance folder. Open it up. So this is a mess, but it works. It utilizes an entity that we haven't discussed, that being point template. This entity spawns other entities via inputs, which is what is being used with the logic for this footlocker. In the highest up point template's properties, you can see that everything else is included in the point template to be spawned. A survivor will walk up to it and interact with a func button positioned on the lid of the locker. This func button then chooses randomly between 3 other point templates, which decide what item will be in the box. Let's place it in our map. Select everything in the footlocker.vmf map and copy it. It should all be grouped up so you can just click one thing and all of it will be selected. Then paste it into your map with paste special or Ctrl+Shift+V, making sure the paste entity names unique box is checked. Merely pasting this all into the map won't make it spawn. I have it set up to spawn with point templates. If all you want is one footlocker to be there when the map loads, then just make a logic auto entity with an output on map spawn. Target the highest up point template named footlocker_template_root via this input for spawn. That's it. But if you want randomness with the locations of the box like in the passing campaign, follow these steps. Select all the footlocker entities, copy, paste with paste special, again making sure the make pasted entity names unique box is checked. Then move the new one to the desired location. Repeat if you want more. Next, combine a logic_case with a logic auto to randomly decide which locker will spawn. We went over logic case in video 8 of this tutorial series. Name the logic case footlocker_picker. Add as many outputs you need for each locker here. Here I have 3 lockers to choose from, so I have 3 outputs with incrementing on case outputs. Now in the logic auto, make an output on map spawn. Target the logic case via the input pick random. When you get in game, only one should spawn, and reloading the map will show a different one every time. My prefab only spawns either pipe bombs, molotovs, or adrenaline, but you can change that to whatever item you want. Firstly, on the top right of hammer, change the selection mode from groups to objects. Select the Footlocker model and button and hide them with H. Earlier I said the locker chooses 1 out of 3 items to spawn with their own point template entities, and you can see it in here. It's a mess, but we can easily hide items we don't want by clicking on one and opening its properties, clicking name, and clicking mark. This selects every entity with the same name. Now press H to hide it all. For each item, there's prop dynamics and the actual items you can grab. Be sure to hide both types. Repeat again for the next type of item you don't want to change. Now, the only thing left that's visible is the item we want to change. Select one of them and mark it. If you select a prop dynamic, go and change the world model to the item you want. I want to turn these pipe bombs into pills, so I'll type in pills in the model browser and look for the pills world model, indicated by the W before the name, hit apply. There are 2 other pipe bombs that haven't changed. These are the actual items that players can grab in game, the rest are just props. Select those 2 remaining items and change their entity class to pills. Unhide everything with U. That's it. We can hop in game and see our results. The info_zombie_spawn entity allows you to forcibly spawn a zombie of any type. It's recommended not to force spawn zombies because it results in predictability, but we'll go over it anyway. Place down the info zombie spawn entity and open its properties. Give it an appropriate name. Now, under population, type the zombie type you want. Linked in the description is a Valve developer community wiki page that lists all the zombie population types. Pick a population name and put it in the entity. Near the bottom of the page are all the special infected names if you wish to spawn those. To spawn the zombie, simply send a spawn zombie input to it. Last thing we'll go over is querying the director. The director gets more angry depending on how good the survivors are doing. If survivors are doing good with full health and ammo, the director is fuming. But if there's multiple dead survivors and the rest have low health, the director is a lot more relaxed. We can figure out how the director is feeling with the logic_director_query entity. Place one down and open its properties. Give it a name. This entity essentially translates the director's true mood into numbers of our own choosing, which we can utilize. The min and max anger ranges set the range at which the director's anger is translated. A range of 1 and 2, for example, is very black and white. The director can be only mildly angry, but when it only has 2 values to return, 1 being calm and 2 being utter rage, it'll likely return utter rage. The default range of 1 to 10 allows for much more nuance with the outputs. Let's use this entity to spawn a tank, only when the director is really mad. The survivors will walk through this trigger once, which has an output on trigger, targeting the logic director query via this input how angry. This tells the logic director query to look at the director's mood. Next, in the logic director query, there's an output out anger, which fires when the entity is sent a how angry input. Then targets a logic case via this input in value, which sends out the translated anger value of the director to the logic case. In the logic case, I have case 01 through 10 going 1 to 10. This matches up with the logic director query's min and max anger range. In the outputs, I have 3 outputs. On case 08 through 10, to target an info zombie spawn entity and make it spawn a tank. The goal of all of this is, survivors will touch this trigger, and if they're doing really good, a tank will spawn. Let's check it out in game. That's all the miscellaneous gameplay elements we'll go over in this video. Next video is going to be huge. We're going to be going over creating finales. Thank you for watching.